So I never actually see myself doing news updates for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but they have dropped some big juicers. Of course, you have the 7-foot-tall family member Hands coming out on the 11th, but now apparently Maria Flores is alive, and she's also coming out on the 11th. They have a trailer, they have some information about each of the characters, and the time to be hyped is now. Let's take a look at this trailer.
I have to find him. What the hell? Hey! You've got my son's car back here. I want to know why. You better have a damn good reason, or I'm calling the cops. Jesse? Oh, God. Hold on, I'm coming. Who the hell are you?
Maria Flores.
I have to find help!
All right, so that wasn't a whole lot, but it was something. It appears that Maria's ability is going to allow her to kind of turn the tables, if you will, and take a look at where the family members are when he yells. The question is, do you actually have to be next to him to do that? Because it seems like a lot of risk. Also, if she's running up to him, does that mean she just doesn't get revealed at all by Grandpa, like in the entire game? Because, if she's up next to him, maybe for a stab or for that ability, surely the family members would see her. I'm not sure, but also, I would love to see if we could see how fast Hands moves. Not the perk. The perk needs to be busted, but how the movement speed of Hands is, because that's the big question with him. We're gonna take a look at some of his abilities, or see how they're described. As the way it seems, he's gonna be the slowest character in the game. But before we go into Maria, we have Hands, the 7-foot-tall, 350-pounder. Of course, played by Robert Mukes from the House of a Thousand Corpses movie. Robert makes Hands a force to be reckoned with. He's armed with a hammer and electronic traps. While Hands is a drag racing legend in Texas, what residents in town don't know is that he's got a dark, violent, and gruesome nature. He's the type of man who gets into grisly altercations at sleazy, rundown biker hangouts. During one of these fights, Hands beats a man to death, rips his face off, and proceeds to wear it like some kind of sick joke. This comes as no surprise, as Hands is massive, extremely powerful, and can and will kill you with his bare hands in minutes. See, the thing with that, though, is if he can do that, and, the kind of guys you're going to be fighting at a biker bar are going to be pretty big dudes, how do you make the argument that Connie, or some of the smaller victims, maybe even like Sonny, can grapple him, even with like a bone scrap? Like, really? 350 versus like 100? I mean, I don't know. It's just, we're gonna let it go. After that altercation, Uncle Hands gives this human mask trophy to Leatherface, inadvertently creating a lifelong obsession for the kid. So, he's the reason. Is this like canon Texas Chainsaw Massacre now? Like, is it actually like, if they make movies going forward, is this gonna be what happens? That's kind of crazy, right? Like, or is this just a different universe where they can just say that? I don't know. But aside from wielding a hammer, players will find Hands to be a great asset to any family team composition. Hands specializes in locking down areas, such as using his homemade electro traps, booby trap barricades, crawl spaces, and other metal objects. That is interesting. What could that be? Like the escape for Valve? But speaking of, since Hands knows the in and outs of machines, his rip stall ability can be used to physically rip out valves and fuses, as well as being able to start the generator or battery quickly. If all else fails, Hands can use his body to take on a defensive stance. Anyone silly enough to approach him runs the risk of being knocked down by a well-timed barge. Now, the question I have with that is that barge just like an anytime like thing? Like, if he's running at you, instead of swinging, if he just runs into your body, is it going to knock you down? Because people are talking about, it's going to be a Leland ability, but how is that possible if this is his ability? Is this going to be a passive ability? Because if that's a passive ability and there's no cooldown, like the valve and fuse is dead, and basically the rest of the family members can camp the other side. So I'm really curious to see what that is like. But we got some quotes from some of the devs / actors. Being able to work with Kim Henkel to bring his original vision of Hands to life from his character Bible has been both gratifying and amazing. Honoring authenticity and adding more layers to the lore of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre has been a dream come true. I hope players will find him as terrifying as brutal as I do. And then you have Robert Mukes, the actor himself. I'm so excited for the folks to see what I brought to the table with Hands. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of my all-time favorite horror movies. I first saw it at 12 years old and thought it was a documentary because it was so real. It's amazing that now I get to work with an IP that means so much to me. With Kane Hodder doing stunt coordination, I had to blast mocapping Hands as I used his hammer to bash victims upside the head. Gotta say, that seems very, written for him. Saying, now I get to work with an IP that means so much to me. That seems a little weird to say that. I wouldn't be saying that, but hey, I'm not gonna, judge whatever. But now we move on to Maria. She's alive. The disappearance of Maria Flores set off a tragic set of events. Learn more about our definitive final girl here. Of course, Maria Flores, voiced by the talented Stephanie Panicello. I feel like that name sounds familiar. Well, her IMDb page is filled, so I imagine she's quite busy. But her disappearance sent shockwaves across Central Texas and her sister Anna's life. As a lover of art and nature, Maria's fateful trip. Head to her Instagram page here. Wait, I'm so confused. They had Instagram in 1973 to explore the vast Texas countryside during wildflower season. Put her in grave danger with the Slaughter family. Having caught the attention of pretty boy Johnny, she was stalked and abducted by him. Maria seemed lost to the outside world. It is weird, a lot of the ways they talked is that she kind of was dead, but it wasn't definitive, because Johnny's I didn't want to hurt her. I really liked her, but, family's family. To be fair, he said hurt, even though it implied killed, but it is what it is. However, deep within the bowels of the Slaughter family's property, Maria was alive and fighting like hell for her survival amidst the horrors she began to realize that something strange was happening. She was being kept alive because of Grandpa, the OG. His affinity towards her was perhaps some sort of past connection. All she knows is that she has to use his vulnerability against Grandpa to escape this nightmarish hell she's living in and escape for good. Maria's star sign ability is called Sweet Talk. She causes Grandpa's sonar ability to highlight family members instead of victims to gain an advantage on them. So with this ability, it sounds like a kind of cooldown thing, obviously, but how long does that last? Because it says this isn't a thing where it's it's highlighting both. It's flipping it, physically flipping it. So, you're oh, where are they? Or maybe even level 5 Grandpa or whatever. It's actually completely flipping in it, so they don't see victims at all. That is interesting. This major gameplay shakeup reverses Grandpa's sonar ability to allow for more strategic play. Maria's Sweet Talk can be modified through her ability tree, such as having Grandpa highlight family members in close proximity to him, reduce Grandpa's level by 1, that's kind of interesting, and reduce cool times. A perk we wanted to highlight is Pep Talk, which grants Maria the ability to heal by a certain percentage after Sweet Talking Grandpa. Due to consistently placing herself in danger, ability rewards the bravest and the toughest of players in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Upping the stakes is in this dangerous game of cat and mouse. Will you have what it takes to ensure Maria escapes the clutches of the Slaughter family? Damn. They cooked. They were hey, Killer Collins, you can have a week. We're taking our players back. But this is from the voice actor herself. Getting into Maria's headspace was definitely not a happy place to be in, but finding the strength and resilience to push further when all odds of survival were stacked against her was a treat to discover. Her desire to live is incredible. She had me pulling from my own Latin upbringing that taught me to create possibility where there may not be, and to always find the beauty in life. That threw me off. In life, though, it's the very thing that got her in this position. I'd like to think that's also what kept her alive. Can't wait for the world to finally experience a character that started the whole search. Interesting. I wonder what kind of extra perks are going to be added. Because obviously when Danny came out, they added the dumbest perk of all time in Fast Hands. It still exists, unfortunately. And, yeah, I hope they don't bring something like that again. There was a lot of talks that, like, Hands was going to have a perk where it could still happen, obviously, where it was like the reverse of Fast Hands. If he was nearby, it would actually make it harder to do locks. I don't know if that has the same level of usability, because obviously Hands has to physically be the one near you, whereas, with Fast Hands, it's like any of the family members are nearby. So I don't know about that, but that's the only thing I really worry about is adding new perks that are broken as hell, which obviously, from a standpoint of selling a game, it makes sense to have some broken things on the characters you have to buy, right? So, wouldn't surprise me. Hope it's not the case. But this is interesting. I was really excited about Hands. I'm going to be honest with you. It's cool that Maria's alive, and I wonder what it's going to be like and some of the interactions. Hopefully they do a lot of voice line stuff with that where, Maria's in the game and Anna's in the game. Like, you could even hug emote. I don't freaking damn know. But I'm really more excited about Hands, to be honest. Like, if you guys watch my Madden content, you know that, like, the 6'8", like, 350-pound offensive linemen are, like, my favorite players to draft and have because they're just big brutes. This man's 7 foot tall, 350. Now, once again, I worry about his ability to run. I don't know how fast he's going to be. I assume he's going to have a sprint, but I kind of feel like he's going to be Cook level. If he's faster than Cook, there's going to be some problems. He's going to be strong if he's faster than Cook, which I would say you would probably put him faster than Cook, right? Even though he's big, you would say he's probably faster than Cook, right around Nancy, maybe slightly faster than Nancy. But I'm very interested to see, though, the electro traps. Like, how does that work? Is it just going to knock him back like the cattle grid? I would imagine, right? It makes sense. But at the same time, it's like crawl spaces. So you go through them and then you're shocked. I wonder, there's probably like a, kind of like a dinner bell perk where it like highlights them as well. But yeah, there's a lot coming on the 11th. Did they say the perk change was coming on the 11th as well? That's crazy amount of content, as the perk change is going to completely change the game, right? It's a brand new builds. Basically everything on YouTube you've seen in the past is useless as far as build-wise. It's going to be easier to make your own builds, but I suppose it'll still be fun to watch and create them, as some people might not think to combine two different things together. But I'm excited. They added a lot of content. I would love to see that the backfill was fixed, and I would love to see Choose Fight / Fast Hands nerfed a little bit more. Outside of that, I think the game's in a really good spot, and we just need players to keep playing. That's really it. If players continue to play, the queues will be quicker, and I think we'll all have a great time, especially with the perk change up. Hopefully some of the combinations aren't as OP, like Grappler with Choose Fight, and obviously Sonny's getting a buff, and Leland's getting a little bit of a buff. But yeah, good times ahead, it seems. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed the video, maybe leave a like, subscribe if you're new. We'll have actual gameplay soon enough. Anyways, that's about it. Hope you guys come back for next video, but until next video,